It is perhaps one of the most reviled moments in cinema history. A scene so dumb, so over the top that it single-handedly killed a beloved movie franchise. And yet here we are, 15 years later, and I'm here to say that we were all wrong about the fridge scene. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory, the show that just really hates snakes. Like, why did it have to be snakes? So, are y'all hyped for Indiana Jones 5? No? Well, I'm not surprised. The franchise has definitely struggled to find its footing in the modern era. You see, Indiana Jones was huge when it was first introduced back in the 1980s. The brainchild of producer George Lucas, director Steven Spielberg, and movie star Harrison Ford. It was like the holy trinity of movies at the time. You had the guy behind Star Wars, the biggest director of the 20th century, and one of Hollywood's hottest, most recognizable stars. People loved these movies. And honestly, how could you not? They were perfect action adventures starring an archaeologist who traveled the world exploring tombs, punching Nazis, and teaching inappropriately flirty college students.
You're a teacher? Part-time.
The Indiana Jones trilogy was rock solid, and I don't know a single person who wasn't satisfied when Indy and his friends literally rode off into the sunset at the end of The Last Crusade, thereby cementing this character's legacy in cinema history forever. And then came the shameless cash grab. Greed gonna do what greed gonna do. And so in 2008, Lucas, Spielberg, and Ford re-teamed up for Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, bringing Indy out of retirement to play the hits, but with a twist, fighting communists, reuniting with his first love, and introducing him to his son, played by Shia LaBeouf, which was a choice.
You chose poorly.
Now, to say that fan reception to Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was mixed would be one heck of an understatement.
Let's start by renaming this film. We'll call it Indiana Jones and the Policy of No Refunds. How about Indiana Jones and the Mystery of Why This Movie Didn't Work?
Watching it again today with fresh eyes, I don't think it's the death of cinema like a lot of people said at the time, but it's certainly mid. Was completely unnecessary, and most egregiously of all, just lost the spirit of the originals. For a ton of people, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was where the franchise jumped the shark, where the fun adventure storytelling became too silly, too irreverent, too unrealistic. And if I were to bet what happened here, the fact that Lucas and Spielberg were suddenly able to use CGI, no longer tethered to what could be done practically, yeah, I think that was what was to blame here. It's almost like it's a pattern with some of these guys. All of a sudden, this very grounded series became more like a video game than the old serials that they were inspired by. This is a movie where Shia LaBeouf swings with monkeys, a guy gets eaten alive by ants, aliens melt the villain's brain using mind bullets. Oh, you heard me, mind bullets. But of them all, one scene stood out as the moment that the franchise died, the moment that it went past the point of no return. I'm talking, of course, about the fridge scene. Since this movie was released 15 years ago, which means that maybe you've been spared from this, let me explain. At the climax of the film's opening set piece, Indy is on the run from several Soviet spies at a US military base in the 1950s. He ducks into a neighborhood to hide from the Ruskies, but soon realizes that something's not quite right. This village is filled with mannequins, not people. If you've ever played Call of Duty Black Ops, you'll immediately recognize this as a Doom Town, a fake neighborhood constructed near nuclear blast sites to see how atomic